पंचामृता के सारे प्रोडक्ट्स
जो खाने में पौष्टिक तत्व की कमी को भर देते हैं। आई सर्टिफाइड वेयर फूड इज फोर्टिफाइड।
नमस्कार आणि योकार तुमका प्रुडंट मिडियाच्या गजाली या कार्यावळीत आज आमच्याबरोबर एक नामनेचे व्यक्तिमत्व आसात ते पिपल्स हायस्कूल हांच्या करियर गायडन्स इनिशिएटिव्हा खातीर खासा गोंयांत आयिल्ले ते म्हणजे भारतीय विदेश सेवेचे निवृत्त एम्बॅसिडर संजय वर्मा सर। ते 1990 IFS बॅचीचे विद्यार्थी तसेच मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एक्सटर्नल अफेअर्स सेक्रेटरी वेस्ट म्हणून आम्ही तांकां वळखतात। ते स्पेन, दुबय, इथिओपिया, जिबुती सारक्या विविध देशांनी भारताचे राजदूत म्हणून तांणी काम पळयलां। तशेंच डिझास्टर रिलीफ ऑपरेशन्स म्हणजे ऑपरेशन राहत, ऑपरेशन गंगा, ऑपरेशन दोस्त हाचे सारकी विविध डिझास्टर रिलीफ ऑपरेशनाचो कारभार तांणी पळयला आणि हालींच तांची UPSC ह्या संस्थेचेर नेमणूक जाल्या। ही हॅज बीन स्वर्न इन एज अ मेंबर ऑफ UPSC। एम्बॅसिडर संजय वर्मा सर, very warm welcome to the state of Goa and Prudent Media.
Thank you for this opportunity. Let me begin by saying that I have a special connection with Goa. I went to a Goan school in Bombay, Father Agnell's.
Oh wow.
And my first visit as a very young child to Goa was in the year 1972. And after that, I've probably visited Goa maybe 30-40 times. Always a pleasure to be here. And I remember interacting with you 2 years ago at the university. At the Goa University. There was a wonderful afternoon session. And today, of course, as you mentioned, I wear a very different hat as a member of the UPSC. My diplomatic career closed February last year. And now I'm in a new role and trying to distill my diplomatic experiences and into the machinery which is called UPSC.
Sir, I mean, we always known you and interacted with you as who's a foremost practitioner and an observer of a foreign policy. But recently you have joined it as a new role as a UPSC member. So, I mean, where you held various positions in foreign services, but every personnel in the foreign services start as a UPSC aspirant. So how are you finding your new job or a new assignment?
Well, it's very different from diplomacy. In a sense, it is a different type of challenge. It's a responsibility. It's a constitutional position. There's a lot of trust which has been endowed upon one's shoulders, and we just bring in the best that the service, the diplomatic service, exposed you to, our skills, our understanding, wisdom, our international experiences, and bringing a new brand of sagacity. All members are distinguished in their different respective careers, and I bring in a diplomatic perspective, so it kind of creates a balance. So that's what it is.
So as you are here in the state of Goa as a part of a People's Schools initiative, so for a general audience, for a young minds, can you explain what is this UPSC all about? Means when we talk about UPSC, we generally talk about only about IAS and IPS, but that's not the only part of an UPSC. So what is the broad framework for a UPSC?
Well, let me begin by saying that UPSC will celebrate 100 years starting this October. Till 1950, it was called the Public Service Commission, but the consequence of the freedom and independence in 1950, it was classified as the Union Public Service Commission, and it has been known since then to uphold very high standards of fairness, meritocracy, objectivity, transparency in recruiting what are called the elite services of this country. You write IAS, police, foreign service, income tax, customs, railways, audit and accounts. These are the different services catered in the what is called the civil services exam. Apart from that, we have the Indian Forest Service, which is also a all India service, and then you have the engineering services, the economic service, the combined medical services, many more such. Also the NDA exam, the CDS exam, also conducted through the UPSC. So it's a broad spectrum of, I won't say thousands of vacancies per year, but a fair amount at the highest levels uh, of individuals who then ultimately uh, retire at the highest levels of bureaucracy in this country.
So as I mean, as you say, bureaucracy, as it has been accredited that the strong foundation of Indian Republic has been a continuous, permanent, and a non-partisan bureaucracy. So as we are in a state of Goa, so what would be your general advice to the UPSC aspirant or in any competitive services aspirant that how young they should start? When does the preparation for the competitive exams begin, ideally?
Well, I would say you need to begin very young, focusing on the exam. I would suggest that if you have a curious mind, an open mind, and you're inquisitive about the world around you, and you have a healthy understanding of how things work, I think that is the basic quality required, not just for UPSC but for any thinking human being. So I wouldn't say UPSC should be the aim of every student, but understanding how the government works, how things are organized in whichever profession or persuasion you are in, that will help the primary work you're doing, whether you're a business person or a professional or an artist, to understand the structure of the government, governance, role of officials, bureaucrats. That becomes essential for a holistic understanding of your existence. How young you should prepare? Well, there's no really golden formula for that. If you're a decent student with an inquisitive mind for general studies, because at the end of the day, the top civil service exam, the UPSC exam, to use the common nomenclature for the IAS, IFS exam, tests you on general knowledge. About 80% of the evaluation is actually general studies. Your optional subject is just one. And so you basically just 15-18% is a very selected knowledge base. Rest 80-85%, including the essay question, the general studies, the interview itself, is on a 360-degree approach, personality assessment, which is not really domain specific. So largely anybody who has a good curious mind and is willing to put the hard work to understand issues with clarity, I think stands a good chance of taking the UPSC exam. Or even otherwise, you have those ingredients and qualities, it will help you perform better in whichever profession you choose to be in.
Okay. What a child in me is tempted to ask is, when did you start preparing for a UPSC?
Well, I think I seriously started preparing for it only after I joined JNU. While doing masters, at the fag end of doing masters, I took my masters seriously.
Oh.
It's usually said that sometimes students join the institution for a hostel room and to take advantage of the environment, the peer group. I didn't do that. I finished my masters with honorable finish. I think probably finished in the top 5, if not higher. So essentially at that level. But if you're a good student and you master your subject, those days there were 2 optional subjects. Today it's only 1. So, but as a good student, you are already subconsciously in a position to take this exam.
So you have traveled across the world. You have taken an assignments across the continent. Okay. So what is the one distinctiveness of Indian bureaucracy that you find? I mean, you have worked with the various bureaucracies.
Right. So I can talk more in terms of the reputation of Indian diplomacy, Indian diplomats. I think we are counted among the finest diplomats worldwide, and this is peer recognition. So it is usually said, diplomats from Iran, Turkey, India, Egypt, UK, uh, individually are of very high caliber. Uh, with us, I think what has happened, we have a legacy. We've always had a good record as diplomats. We've had good role models. We have a good foreign service institute, and there is a certain reputation we have to live up to. Plus, I think one advantage we have is that Indian diplomats today or Indian bureaucrats are selected from a very wide catchment area of human resources, both in terms of socioeconomic backgrounds and geography.
Highly
So,
representative.
correct. So this is where I feel states like Goa or the Northeast, we need more representation from such states. We need it. India needs it. I mean, it will of course also serve the interest of the state, but for a more holistic development of the nation, we need to get diverse, pluralistic presence, and I think Goans can bring that, or children from the Northeast can bring that. I think it just strengthens the fabric of the country even more. But coming back to your question, I think the pride I take is that I have seen uh, Indian diplomats coming from the most diverse, humble, modest backgrounds when they join the service, and through the process of training, work experience, responsibilities which they have embraced, they all become fine diplomats, performing at the highest levels. So I think that has given me tremendous satisfaction to see that how this process takes very promising youngsters, and through the systemic process even makes them finer, better professionals.
And you were in Jawaharlal Nehru University, and that's where you started preparing for a UPSC. And these are the universities, the central universities, which are known for their inclusiveness. You could find the entire India there. So, what is the role of this ecosystem or a support system that an aspirant of a UPSC needs?
I think the support system, I think, probably begins from home, family support, support of friends, relatives. That is the more emotional, anchoring of the aspiration, because it's a tough exam. It's a longish process. Apart from that, because information and knowledge today is far more freely available,
True.
there are far many more avenues, channels of collecting information. It's a little more affordable in some sense if you keep outside very expensive coaching institutes, etc. So if you have the urge, you have the inclination, the support system is easily accessible. You might require a good set of friends, right-minded people
True.
who
Peers.
guide you well, and above all, to have a 360-degree approach to knowledge, to have a contemporary understanding of issues, not look at syllabus-bound understanding of issues, because in the interview process also, we are looking at aspirants who are in real time aware of the world and can correlate what they know with real world happenings and give coherent, acceptable, and diverse responses.
I think it's one of the largest inclusive exercise. I mean, what it takes to answer a UPSC is just your academic qualification. I mean, it's. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, it's not a sort of an only if you have a money or only if you can afford, you can answer the exam. I mean, the exam could be given by anybody.
Yeah, anybody, correct. So, I mean, you have to look at it like this. If everybody takes the exam and writes according to syllabus, textbooks, and not correlate it or, connect, your knowledge base and understand a coherent approach to reality, And if you can reflect that in the paper, your response is better than anybody else's.
Absolutely.
But if you go textbook like, then it's a cookie cutter response. That doesn't stand out. You need to stand out. In a country of 1.4 billion people,
Absolutely.
to stand out, you need to be original. You need to and showcase, understanding,
Problem
and
solving.
correct problems. And this is far more easier today.
True.
We come from a country which has had a difficult past. There are large sections of our society, including women, which didn't have opportunities, but today they are there. So one of the most redeeming aspects of my position as a member of UPSC is to see when I see kids whose parents are Anganwadi
True.
workers, auto drivers, constables, agricultural labor. They think they have a fighting chance and are there in the room, in the interview room at UPSC. That is fulfilling. Very few countries in the world are trying to lift 1.4 billion people through democratic means.
True.
It is going to be a messy, noisy, there's a lot of static. So there will be hits and misses. But in all of this, to give that individual who has for centuries faced some form of deprivation or the other, whether it's geographical, regional, caste, class, gender, this exam and the fact that increasingly our boys and girls from challenging backgrounds, first generation graduates,
First generation
feel
literate sometimes.
correct, feel that they have a fair chance of joining.
True.
What are the elite? I shouldn't use the word elite because
Absolutely.
it becomes condescending. But you become part of the
Meritocracy.
nation building process. Yes.
True. And it has established its own meritocracy and standards.
Correct.
Which
Absolutely.
nobody can dispute.
That's right.
So as we go ahead, so what, how a person needs to be exposed to a right sort of reading materials and resources? What is the guide?
Well, as
Because in
a
today's
member, I
times-
can't.
Yeah.
My challenge is here not to assume the role of a coaching institute.
Absolutely.
So I just come down to the basics. What are the foundational aspects of a student?
I'm asking this question to a former UPSC aspirant.
Yeah. I think to be a well-rounded personality, to not just excel in academics, but also have a healthy interest in non-curricular or extracurricular activities and sports, because that builds up your CV, one, and that's the minimum it does. The maximum it does is makes you a better human being. It develops your body, and with the arts and theatre, films, it helps your perspective on life. So whether you're taking hard administrative decisions or trying to crack economic problems, what the arts and your hobbies can do is only enhance that. Sometimes throw fresh light into issues, etc. So I won't go down in telling how you should prepare for the exam, but I can tell you that somebody who has in him or her both academic and non-academic qualifications at a serious level. It's not just saying that I play gully cricket.
True.
Or I do antakshari. No, have a serious interest in music. Know, the language of music. Sports, play to a certain degree of proficiency, even if you're not representing a state or the country. All that helps. And that's what we're looking for, because these jobs at the end of the day are both mentally and physically tasking.
True.
So I think being a well-rounded student with a good work ethics, study ethics, integrity, and a belief that one, it is a career option. It is
True.
not the option.
Absolutely.
I am not prescribing that this is the best job.
Not
in the
an
world.
ultimate thing.
It is not. It is not. I think anybody who pays taxes or a good professor, contribution can probably be far more than an average bureaucrat. Far more. Plus, it may be more satisfying. Bureaucracy has its pros and cons, but all in all, it's a decent profession. And I would like to promote it in areas and geographies where it is not that well known or not pursued, because we need fair representation.
True.
We need more Goans in bureaucracy, in diplomacy, etc. So my whole discourse today is to persuade more participation. I think Goa has got many things right. Some of our brightest minds in sports, arts, literature,
True.
architecture, environment. There's so many names which come to my mind are Goans of high standing, chefs, and you
True.
know the names I have in mind, you know, all across. So
True, absolutely.
one area which is missing
This
is bureaucracy, and I'm sure you can spare some talent for that as well.
So I would like to just nudge that point is that Goa has a very unique problem is because Goa was once a leader in public education, and point is that
Are you getting there? No.
Huh?
You're getting there again.
No.
The number of institutions, educational institutions in Goa for a small place is quite phenomenal.
Absolutely. And a point is that despite, we were integrated with India 14 years after India's independence, and the way Goa has contributed in public education, in higher education, is immense. We fairly also have a fairly high gross enrollment ratio also in higher education. But our participation in civil services has not been encouraging. So this is, in whichever part of the country we go, education gross enrollment ratio has been a problem. So how do you see this as a problem? So what is?
Okay, I can only add more to what the problem is, and I've been having this conversation now. So you look at two states in this country, Goa and Kerala. They're similarly placed in terms of socio-economic achievement. Similarly, Goa, I think the per capita income may be slightly higher than Kerala
Because of the size.
But your engagement to the west, to the oceans, to the Gulf region and elsewhere is similar. But there are more Malayalis attracted through the bureaucracy. I don't know how to explain that totally, but not as many Goans, because you have the same advantages as Kerala does. Probably one reason is that you have lesser role models in bureaucracy, or even if you have, they're not heard of. For example, Sneha Dubey is an outstanding diplomat from Goa, from Margao, went to Ferguson and then JNU. Then I met Ashutosh Pednekar
In Rajasthan.
In Rajasthan cadre. So I think individuals like these two, they're outstanding. I happen to know both of them. They need to talk more to the students here and to project the possibilities of a career in the IAS and the foreign service. And you have many more such individual cases coming up. And more than the students, I think the parents have to be focused on, because somewhere the mindset of the parents also has to change, because otherwise they would typically look at the service sector, hospitality, which is not bad. I mean, service sector is our strength in this country after all. I'm not even suggesting that, don't look at the service sector. But you have so much talent. Sometimes the imagination is stunted in terms of career prospects. That has to be opened up. So I think maybe the government may start some coaching classes or at least awareness programs, because it helps the state as well to have natives.
Absolutely. In terms of, this is a larger political question. But the point is that, who makes a good IAS officer or any civil service officer? I think it's the society. Is because we need to be sensitive about certain things. This treat it as a professional career option.
Correct. You're very right.
And so another question, sir. You were of 1990 batch IFS. Decades pass. How you see? How the UPSC or how this cycle has changed? That newer talents have come. Point is that the world has changed. The system has changed. So how you have seen this change? When you talk to your younger colleagues, new recruits, how the things have changed?
Well, not everything can change. What should not change is, I think, the reputation, the transparency, openness, integrity, the robustness of the institution. That should only get stronger. But what will change and has to change is the technology. UPCs also had to move along, use technology for more security in terms of assessment, invigilation, identification of candidates, etc. Uh, Secondly, I think you may have probably heard that we have now started sharing the list of candidates. For example, let's say 1100 candidates are chosen for the civil services every year, but there are about 3000 who have given the interview and have reached that stage. So, about 2000 odd candidates who almost made the cut,
Yeah. It's
but is a
recent-
talent pool which is available. So we have started sharing that information with private sector companies, public sector companies. So a new spate of recruitment has begun from both the private and public sector, taking advantage of this talent pool. So I think that is an initiative which began some years back, but is now really being pushed with the new enthusiasm. So these are certain changes which happen. We are an implementing agency and not an agency, a body, let's say. A lot of the rules and reforms actually happen with the government, with the executive. We are not part of the executive. But what UPSC is asked to do, then we will try and use modern methodologies, technology to make it contemporary, make it foolproof. That would be.
I think this is one of the very important reform is because many people ask what is the plan B. So is there a plan B for a UPSC? And I think this is a very important, significant step towards it. Is that you make the names public who almost made to the cut, but unfortunately didn't make it.
Yes,
So
plan
can
B,
you just
plan
elaborate?
C, plan D.
Can you just please elaborate on this?
No, I mean, it's there.
Yeah.
The resource is available, and on request, it is being shared with private sector companies, and recruitments are taking place. I'm aware, not just within the government, there are agencies within the government or institutions, or which are hiring people from the larger list, and now even the private sector is doing it because these are students who worked hard and have mastered this exam to a significant extent, and they also deserve, because at the end of the day, everybody has not taken the same subjects, everybody hasn't faced the same questions, and everybody is surely not getting the same questions from the same board in the interview. So there is a subjectivity which comes into it. So between a few marks, there are differences in ranking, etc. But let the larger demand for quality employees be met through the UPSC list. So this is one of the changes which is happening.
Okay. Last two questions, and maybe this is very, what you call it, an individualistic concept. Question is that person who would be going for a college education. Every parents aspire their kids to be getting into a well-earning job, okay, maybe in corporates or in various certifications. Why a person should aspire to be a UPSC officer or a civil servant? What is the motivation?
What is the motivation? Well, I think the monetary motivation is probably not that important. It is your ability to make significant change, be guided by a higher purpose of nation building. At the same time, also have the support system which will take you through those 20-30 years. You may have a support system which starts challenging those ideals, so that will compromise you as a bureaucrat, not so much as a diplomat. As diplomats, we exist in a very different, rarefied atmosphere. So that is what goes into, to be a successful bureaucrat. But the spirit of identifying with the nation in a unique way. I'm not saying that businessmen or artists or people in the non-governmental sector are not committed or not. They are probably more. But here, I think you have to be very clear in your mind. You can't say 20 years down the line that, maybe I should have made money and
True.
I should have been in the corporate sector, etc. You have to sort of accept that, because there are perks and advantages. I mean, you can't have those perks and advantages at the same time keep looking back and saying maybe I should have joined XYZ for a bigger packet or compensation. I mean, for one, there is tremendous diversity of work. I mean, very few jobs on this planet which can afford you the diversity. There is stability, but decreasingly so. Performance is being evaluated or scrutinized far more rigorously today, and you may lose your job, and that will increasingly happen. And I can see that with AI and technology coming in, there will be a lot more scrutiny, and even in bureaucracy, there will be, people will have to perform at the top of their game to continue, and they have to evolve, adapt. So,
Final question: what is your message to the kids and youth of Goa?
well, Goa is a wonderful state. It's got a fantastic both an artistic and intellectual heritage, creative heritage. Is done very well. There is space in bureaucracy for Goans to come in. There is space for Goan ambassadors, Goan Indian ambassadors to be positioned worldwide. We will benefit, the larger nation will benefit. So give it a shot. Give it a shot, keep a year or two after you have graduated, and graduated with distinction, with seriousness, so that you have a plan B, C, D, E, F. And we all youngsters will need A, B, C, D, E, F, G, because the way technology is changing, we will have to keep, learning, unlearning, relearning all the time. And most of these kids will live till 95, 100. They may need to work till 75, 80. So in that sense, that constant change, adaptation. So that is my message. I mean, in that change and adaptation, give the UPSC or bureaucracy a shot as well. It's worth it. It's worth it.
Ambassador Sanjay Verma, sir, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. It was pleasure to have you here.
My
And we
pleasure
would
too.
often like to see you in Goa.
Whenever you invite, I'll be happily available.
नमस्कार, पळत राहा प्रुडंट मीडिया.